The Lakers have stunned the NBA world, winning the first two games of their series against the Rockets without both Luka Doncic and Austin Reaves, and in spite of Kevin Durant's return in Game 2. And they've done it by causing the Rockets' offense to completely melt down. The Lakers aren't known as a strong defensive team because they aren't. They finished the year 20th in defensive rating and largely lack strong individual defenders, but they have executed their scheme to great effect, completely exploiting the most glaring shortcomings of the Rockets' offense in, frankly, embarrassing fashion for Houston. In this series, the Rockets have posted an offensive rating about 3 points worse than the worst offense in the NBA this year, and they've been an utter disaster in the half court, generating just 0.79 points per possession. That's 15% worse than the worst half court offense in the league this season. Their offense is completely broken. The Rockets have two major deficiencies that stick out like a sore thumb. Their ball handling and three-point shooting both pale in comparison to any other team in the playoff field. Outside of Kevin Durant, this is a team that is largely devoid of offensive skill, so the Lakers have done everything possible to get the ball out of Durant's hands, denying him aggressively off ball to eat precious seconds off the clock for Houston and force the ball to go elsewhere. And when he does get a touch, they're double teaming him almost every time. Those double teams were the biggest problem for the Houston offense in Game 2. LA threw some of them at KD in the first half, but he was still able to score a very efficient 20 points, mostly off pull-up jumpers attacking early in semi-transition or when left in single coverage. So especially in the second half, the Lakers fully committed to forcing KD to handle under pressure and beat them as a decision maker and passer while daring anyone else to make a play. And that proved to be a disaster for Houston in the second half, as KD scored just 3 points on 1 of 5 shooting with 4 turnovers, and their offense produced just 43 points. At every level, the Rockets were incompetent handling KD's double teams. Even when KD was able to successfully outlet the ball to a teammate with a 4-on-3, the Lakers packed the paint to force kickout passes to guys like Tari Eason or Josh Okogie, funneling shots to highly questionable shooters. Exploiting Houston's lack of shooting was at the core of this whole strategy, and it worked. The Rockets shot just 7 of 29 from deep in this game, but it got a lot uglier than just missing threes for them, particularly with turnovers, which KD had 9 of in this game. A lot of this is on KD. He made ball handling errors, threw inaccurate passes, and simply failed to make any high-level passing reads. The spacing is very mucked up here, as is customary for the Rockets because Amen and Sengun are complete non-shooters. Tari Eason is also shooting just 22% from 3 since the All-Star break, but it still makes no sense to have Eason in the dunker spot and Amen spotting up in the corner here. Those positions should be inverted because Amen is the better cutter and dunker spot finisher, and Eason at least can make a 3, but they're not. So KD is looking at 5 bodies in the paint here and is left with only one good option, a skip pass to an open Jabari Smith in the weak side corner. Not an easy pass, but one a lead ball handler has to make. But instead, KD tries to force it into Sengun in traffic and turns it over. Here we have more clunky spacing. KD is triple teamed and every body on the floor but one is around the paint. But that one player is Reed Sheppard, the Rockets' best three-point shooter who does make himself available at the top of the key. But KD foolishly leaves his feet here. Even he can't shoot over this level of defensive pressure, so now rushed and caught in the air without a good plan, he seems to never see Sheppard and turns it over. These poor passing reads speak to the fact that KD is not meant to be a primary ball handler for an offense. He's not a natural playmaker. He does often turn it over under pressure, and a vast majority of his offense at this point comes off of jump shots. He does not attack the game and create like an offensive engine. He's really meant to be an elite off-ball scorer alongside a lead playmaker. But for the Rockets, KD is forced into that primary ball handling role because they have so little ball handling elsewhere. And when a team like the Lakers force him to be a passer in that role, boy, can he struggle. The Lakers were also able to frustrate KD, limiting his scoring opportunities so effectively that he eventually did force a few shot-ups, because even a heavily contested jumper started to feel better to him than a shot against an outright double team, a turnover, or his teammates fumbling a 4-on-3. So KD was a disaster in the second half, but again, the Rockets as a whole were incompetent handling his double teams. It was damning for the whole team, not just him. Here, the double is obviously coming. It has been all game. And look at the Rockets spacing. They have two players essentially occupying the same spot on the left wing and two players essentially occupying the same spot on the baseline, with nobody close to the ball as an outlet for KD. So nobody's open, which should never happen when the defense concedes a numbers advantage. And when someone finally does come to get the ball, three players go to the same spot and it's too late. Here, KD's doubled and gets the ball to Capella off the short roll, who initially fails to see Okogie open in the corner, then throws him an inaccurate pass, costing Okogie, already a 31% career three-point shooter, his chance at an open three. Then the Rockets waste some more time, and when the ball finally gets back to KD, there's just 5 seconds left. He's immediately doubled. Okogie, for some reason, clears out of the corner where he would have been open off an extra pass from Jabari Smith, and Jabari has to settle for an extremely tough shot as the shot clock expires. So KD's teammates were really bad at playing off of his doubles, which made the formula very simple for LA. Don't let KD beat you as a scorer, and when you double him, neither he nor his teammates will be able to make the necessary plays, because they seemed baffled and overwhelmed by the double teams all game long. But you want to know what might be the worst part? It's not just that the Rockets saw all these doubles on KD throughout game 2 and couldn't find any solution. It's that this is the third straight game the Lakers have applied this strategy against KD, and the Rockets have melted down against it every time. Over their past 3 meetings, the Lakers have doubled or blitzed KD 61 times, and excluding offensive rebounds, the Rockets have scored just 42 points across those possessions. That is a putrid 0.69 points per possession. They've also turned it over an abysmal 26% of the time when KD has been doubled or blitzed. Through this strategy, the Lakers have been able to seriously limit KD's scoring volume, holding him to under 20 points per game and forcing the ball into the hands of much less capable Rockets, while also pressuring KD into a whopping 20 turnovers over those 3 games. So this simple game plan has worked to perfection, exploiting all of KD and the Rockets' biggest weaknesses. But if you can believe it, things get even worse when KD is off the floor. With KD out in game 1, the Lakers' defensive strategy was even simpler. They knew that on basically every possession, the Rockets' offense was going to be focused on Sengun or Amen trying to force their way into the paint. So the Lakers simply packed the paint, exploiting Houston's poor spacing and forcing Sengun and Amen to either make kickout passes to subpar shooters or make touch shots over the top of the Lakers defense, an area in which both of them consistently struggle. They've also consistently stonewalled Sengun one-on-one, forcing him into tough shots against big post defenders. So, Sengun and Amen combined to shoot 13 of 37 in game 1 as the surrounding Rockets shot poorly and the team scored a measly 98 points. So that was rough. But the non-KD minutes in game 2 were even worse. In 6 minutes and 58 seconds, with KD off the floor, Houston scored 6 points on 2 of 15 shooting, crumbling while facing packed paints once again as their shooting ran ice cold. So KD really is their only hope in the half court. They have to find more ways to get him free as a scorer off ball, and they have to figure out how to convert more off of his double teams. The Rockets will have to shoot better than 24% from 3 as they did in game 2, and KD will simply have to make better decisions and protect the ball better. Those are 2 things that couldn't really go worse than they did in game 2, but another key will be spacing improvements playing off of KD. The Rockets finally found some success late in game 2, with either Sengun or Amen making themselves available around the free throw line as KD's outlet, with the other one in the dunker spot. So their two best playmakers and paint finishers around KD were in their optimal positions to play off the 4-on-3. And KD did a better job of making his passes easier, getting rid of the ball quickly and not backing up too much. Ultimately, this was much too little too late, but the Rockets could build off of it going forward. Simply double teaming a player shouldn't just leave an offense helpless over a 7-game series, but it did that to Houston in game 2, which was a failure of the players, head coach Ime Udoka, and GM Rafael Stone for failing to address the clear needs for more ball handling and shooting on this roster. As embarrassing as this series has been for Houston, it's important to acknowledge that the Rockets are missing two key players of their own. Fred VanVleet was essential to this team as a quality ball handler who could reduce the ball handling load on KD, Sengun, and Amen, keep turnovers lower for the team, knock down threes, and be a playmaker. With him on the floor, this series probably looks a lot different. Same goes for Steven Adams, who was the best offensive rebounder in the NBA, making Houston the best offensive rebounding team ever when he was on the floor, while he also set elite screens and was a much better defensive center than Sengun. With those two both out for the season, Houston is left with a husk of the roster they envisioned and three top players whose flaws are glaring and whose fit is bad. KD, again, cannot be a lead ball handler for an offense in 2026. Sengun is a poor play finisher for a big and a complete non-shooter who's also a poor screener and doesn't like to play much out of pick and roll, preferring to play lots of ISO and post-up ball where he stops the ball and is inefficient, so he doesn't really play well off of others. Amen is still a complete non-shooter, which poses spacing issues and is not a good enough ball handler to be a reliable half-court creator, especially when teams can easily pack the paint against him because Houston lacks shooting. It's not that these players aren't talented. It's that they're all deeply flawed in ways that exacerbate the issues of one another as they're all being asked to do too much. This offensive situation makes life harder on all of them. The Rockets have enough talent to come back and win this series, but only because the Lakers are without two of their top 3 players. And still, LA has clearly looked like the better team so far, better coached, connected and engaged defensively with something that resembles an actual NBA offense, while the Rockets offense has looked broken.